Hey guys, today's recipe isn't exactly a proper recipe, it's more like a handy hint, but it's something fun that I wanted to share with you. So to compensate, I'm going to tell a bit of a background story beforehand, just so you get a bit of context as to why I'm doing this. A few years ago, I got sick. I got very sick and had to have emergency surgery because I was diagnosed with a rare form of bowel disease. As a result, I had to have a large chunk of my lower bowel removed, and afterwards I did go through quite a lot of experimentation with certain things because I suddenly discovered I wasn't able to digest certain foods. And one thing was pizza. And I tried every alternative I could think of. I tried gluten-free pizza bases, I tried pizza bases made out of everything from potato to cauliflower, and they either didn't agree with me or they just didn't taste like a proper pizza. Now, up until about 2 months ago, I pretty much guaranteed to myself that I was never going to be eating pizza ever again. Until I picked up this old cookbook. I picked it up at an old second-hand shop, and basically it was all sorts of different recipes for doing things for kids' parties, and one of them was about doing a make-your-own pizza bar for a kid's birthday party. And I thought, may as well skip over this, it's pizza, I'm never going to eat it. But for some reason I read the article and I absolutely fell in love, because they came up with this brilliant idea of, instead of making traditional pizza dough, which is a bit of a mess if you've got kids, it was using something different that I'd never really considered before, and it works perfectly. So I thought I'd share it with you today. So I'm inviting you to my make my own pizza party on the One Pot Chef. So what are we using instead of pizza dough today, I hear you ask? Well, we're using these. These are Lebanese breads. Now, Lebanese bread is different to most flatbreads as it's got a bit of thickness to it. It's got a double layer, and you can see there that unlike, say, a tortilla, if you bake this, it doesn't go crispy like a giant tortilla chip. It still retains that slight breadiness to it, but it's thick enough that it feels a bit like thin and crispy pizza when you use it as a pizza. It's got the perfect sort of consistency for a pizza base. It's also perfect for a kid's party if you're doing a make-your-own pizza bar, because there's no mess, you're not having to mix dough, you're not having to worry about making sure the dough is cooked properly because it is already cooked, and literally I'm just putting this onto an oven tray lined with a bit of non-stick baking paper just to save on cleanup. Now, the great thing about making your own pizzas at home is that you don't have to worry about sticking to a specific recipe. You can use pretty much any ingredients you have on hand. I don't have any pizza sauce or traditional pizza sauce on hand at the moment, so I'm going to use something different that I found in the cupboard. I'm using some tomato salsa. So I am just going to pour a bit of salsa on each one and spread it out to the sides. A good rule of thumb when making pizza is to avoid getting the sauce too close to the edge. You want to have something that you're able to grip after it's baked. So just carefully spread it out, avoiding that edge section. Now you can use pretty much anything you like for the sauce. You can use a traditional pizza sauce, you can use this salsa, you could use ketchup or barbecue sauce, you could even use a bit of spaghetti sauce out of a jar. Whatever you happen to have on hand works well. To add a bit of meatiness, I'm going to add some shredded ham, which I just picked up from the deli. Again, you can use any meats you like, don't feel restricted by any particular recipe. For a bit of green, I'm going to put some baby spinach on top. This is just some baby spinach salad leaves. These will wilt down in the oven, so don't worry if it looks like there's a heap on here. It will shrink down a bit. And I've got some cherry tomatoes as well, which I have just cut into halves, and I'm just going to scatter them around randomly. And it wouldn't be pizza without cheese, so I'm just going to put a little bit of grated cheese over the top. I find with pizza you don't want to put too much cheese on because I find it distracts from the flavour of the other ingredients. So just a little bit on top of each. You can season this with a little bit of salt and pepper if you desire. Otherwise, this is ready to go into the oven. Preheated oven, 200 degrees Celsius, about 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to pop this in for about 10-15 minutes or until the cheese is melted and everything's warmed through. While our pizzas are in the oven, I thought I'd take this opportunity to remind you to check out my social media, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Links in the video description underneath this video on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell next to it. That way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. Fresh out of the oven, and our pizzas are looking absolutely gorgeous. They're beautiful and crisp on the outside. The sauce has sort of moistened the inside section, so it's got that sort of traditional pizza-based consistency to it. And that beautiful golden cheese on top, melted and bubbling and yum. I cannot wait to dive in and have a taste. How beautiful does that look? Well, I've got my pizza cutter, so I'm just going to cut myself a piece. Right. Come here, come to daddy. Oh, look at that, yum. Mmm. Oh, it's beautiful. Mmm. Yum. What I really love about this type of pizza is it stays nice and crisp on the outside, but the sauce and the cheese make the inside sort of soft and moist and chewy, almost like a traditional pizza base, and it's absolutely sensational. That tomato salsa, it's got that tomatoiness, it's sweet, it's spicy, it's perfect for pizza. And of course you've got the lovely cheese, the spinach, the ham, tomatoes. What more could you possibly want? Well, I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Check out my other videos at onepotchefshow.com. And until next time, see you later. Another cool tip is if you're planning on doing a pizza party for small children and you think these ones might be a bit too big for individual pizzas, you can either do half and half pizzas with these, or you can use a smaller flatbread. I recommend something like pita bread because it tends to be smaller than the Lebanese flatbread and it's got that similar consistency that's just perfect for making little mini pizzas.